What is up, everybody? Alex106 here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the Play Fader by Play All Day. I love the name, love the sentiment, and this is a fun little box. So the Play Fader is basically two monophonic sequencers for CV and gate as well as MIDI. It can be synced via analog clock. It can also send analog clock out. It can also be synced via MIDI. It can send MIDI clock out, and it can also sequence MIDI devices. So today we're just going to use CV because that's primarily what I do. So we're just going to use the modular. I'm going to clock it via the analog clock from the TR-8S. So I've got the trigger output coming in to the sync here. So just to show you the box real quick, this is a cool little thing. The stand becomes a lid. It doesn't snap on. I kind of wish it would, but you can always just put a rubber band around it or something like that to keep it on, and then it just goes on, and now you've got a nice little non-slip stand for the device itself. On the back, you can see we've got the input labels here. Again, I kind of wish those were either on the top or back here to see, but you know, they wanted to keep a minimal design, so I understand that. So you've got Play A and Play B. These are your CV and gate pair outs, and then you've got MIDI out and sync, MIDI, sync out and in, basically. So MIDI or sync IO. So to set up a analog clock input, we just take this one that has the input here, the triangle going down, we set that to up. I have them both set to the up position, these switches here, so that way I'm just doing all analog. If I wanted to send a hardware clock out to something else, I could. But if you're going to do MIDI sync, you just flip it down and you've got that. So we put this back on here, we flip it over, and then this is the device. So now we need to set up what clock source we're going to use. And so to do that, we just hit Fun and Clear. And then we set up what we want to change here and then change it with the right fader here. So you can see I've got clock source set to external. We can set it to internal or external. We move this up. You've got BPM. You've got the rate in. So this is like if you're using an analog sync, this is your PPQ in settings, rate out, and then clock send off or on. So that is very handy features there. So before we start the clock on the TR-8S, we just want to make sure we reset. So in order to do that, we're just going to hit Fun and Time and Scale together. And we're just going to hit both Play A and Play B. That will reset our clock. So that way when that starts, it starts the clock on both of them. So I'm going to go here, make sure I've got these both cleared out. And to clear a full sequence, you just hold clear and the loop button and then hit either Play or A or B, and you just hold those and it will clear. So I like to call this thing a noodle machine. It is super fun to just kind of make new sequences on the fly and play with. If I were to use this live, that's definitely what I would do with it. I would most likely have some stuff already playing. I'd set up my scales to be in the key that I'm playing in, and then I would use this to kind of like make extra things on top. That's kind of my vision for it. But for what we've got set up today is I've got the TR-8S, and then I've got a very simple subtractive voice. So I have the ATX1 VCO from Tip Top going into the Rossum Evolution filter, just going into the VCA of the control path envelope from Tip Top. And then the envelope out of that same envelope is just going into the Evolution. So that way I've just got a one envelope set up, very, very simple subtractive voice. That's going into the performance mixer. So now if I press play on my TR-8S, we can see on the play fader that we're getting a downbeat there, and it's counting along with us, and we're in time. So now to play along, we can set up our time settings. So we can say the notes we want to have like repeat, right? So if we go all the way down, this is an unquantized recording with a longer gate length. And if we set up time to like 16, this is 16th notes, right? And now we can move the fader to get pitches. So to record a loop, all you got to do is hold loop and then press play. There we go. We can add some more. And And then maybe we'll clear some steps by holding clear and pressing play. And there we go. We've got a cool little sequence happening. So I'm going to clear all these just by waiting a bar. And then we can do it again. And we're moving, right? I'm going to clear this out one more time. Now let's set up a scale. So to set up a scale, you just hold scale, and you can move the fader here to say chromatic, major, minor, or user scale. And then up here, you have unquantized voltages, which are really great for like modulating parameters and things like that. We're gonna get into that in a second, but we're gonna stick with user scale. And then we just hold fun and time here. And one quick tip, if you double tap latch while you're looking at any menu, you can latch that menu open. And so now we have the user scale here. And to set that up, we basically move the right fader to choose a note, and then we use play B to turn it on or off. And so we go play A here, we can hear what note that is. So that's a nice thing. And then we go down here. Oh, we use the left side to set up the root. So I'm gonna stick over here. This is the G note, so that's gonna be my root. We go out of here, and you can see that G is my note here. So that's my root note. That's how you set up the user scale. Super easy. We can do that one more time. And now, oops, we wanna go boom, boom, boom. And how do we do that again? So if you hold play B, we can now move these numbers, and this is basically your voltage range. So we've got 0 volts in the front, 2 volts in the back. We can go all the way up to 8 volts, so you can do a really wide range. But I like to keep it at 2 just so it stays in my like baseline range, especially for what I'm trying to do right now. So we're just gonna leave that. So now we can go through, record a new loop, right? 2, 3, go. Maybe. There we go. All right, so now we can set up different gate lengths. And to do that, we just hold time and scale together, and then we can move the fader here. And then again, we can double tap latch, and then that'll stay there. And now whenever we hit the play button, you can hear, we're just playing that last note that we had, but we can change the gate lengths. So I can add like a real long gate length, go back to the normal menu, pick a different note, and add some like longer gates. Right? So let's go back, let's make it short again. There we go, that's pretty cool. So the gate length is really nice to modulate to create a little bit more variation. And one thing I like to do is to decouple the CV from the gate in order to just leave our sequence, our pitch sequence the way it is, but only change the gate. And so to do that, we just hold scale here and we press the channel button that we want. So I'm gonna hit A. And now if it's a dot up there, we're only affecting the gates. So you can hear, if I just hold that, we're still getting 16th notes, and we are not changing the pitch at all. If we do that again, we go here, we're only changing the pitch, but the gate lengths stay the same. So what I like to do is go through here, and we'll say I want it to only affect the gate channel, time and scale, and we'll latch that. And so now we can hold the loop button, and we can modulate that gate length. And that gives us a kind of little bit more funky variating pattern. So we can change the pattern length with fun and time. We can say I want a 32 step pattern, and we can go add some more stuff. And that is, I need to just turn my, there we go, I need to turn that back on, and then we can go. So now we have a longer pattern. I'm gonna go back to 16, and we'll record a new thing. So we're just gonna go like, now let's do our gate length again. So let's double tap that and then do some of this. And we've got some cool stuff happening there. So I'm gonna add a couple more notes. So let's go back to a shorter gate length and get out of there and just do like some higher notes. And I need to go back and change that so we get both gates, and there we go. So now we can add effects to the output of this. So that's what this fun knob or fun button is for. This is the function button, or just fun, pure fun. So we double tap and hold, and now we can change the parameters here and change the different ones. We've got sustain, pitch bend, and my favorite is slew. So we hold fun, change the slew amount. Now we've got kind of an acid thing. So I wish that you could record that. That is, all the fun stuff is on the output, so you can't record those. I wish you could record that in, because like, I just want per step slides, you know what I mean? That stay in the sequence. But that is the fun, that's the fun thing. The fun effects. Okay, so I haven't touched a second channel. The second output, I've literally just got going into a second filter input, so a second filter cutoff input on the evolution. And then I've got this one set up for the scale to just be 5 volts, so that way it's a smooth voltage, no quantization. And then time, I've got it set all the way down to no quantization. So now I can do smooth parameter sequencing. So if I move this while holding the play button, I've got some cool filter modulation, and now I can loop that. And now I've got a real cool, interesting sequence. So by default, we are recording to both buffers. And so if we want to record to, like I said, there's 2 buffers. So we can say, I'm going to go to buffer 2. Or this is buffer, we were on buffer 2. I'm going to go to buffer 1. I've already got something written on that one, right? So now we can go in and we can edit this guy. And then fun and time plus play A, we go back to the other buffer. So that's a fun way to create a little bit of variation, make a fill, make an A and a B part, something like that. So like I said, if you want to reset earlier, you know, I was saying you want to reset at the beginning of your pattern, but you can use this as an effect too. So we're just going to hold fun and time and then hit play. Oop, I'm hitting the wrong thing. It's fun, time, and scale. So it's fun to reset stuff like in time. Boom. And so that is a like fun little performance effect that you can do, and just reset it onto the beat. So if it does get off, or for some reason your system gets off, you can always reset it. And then if you want to reset everything, you can do time and fun, time, and scale again, and you can double tap loop. Is that it? And then that'll resync everything. And so that's a good way to just get everything back on the same page. Like if you were doing, you know, odd gate lengths or odd step lengths on one and one on the other, and you want to get them back, that's how you do that. So you just time, fun, time, and scale, and then double click. So yeah, the play fader, like I said, it's a fun thing. You can set it up to where it can do a different voice instead of just doing parameter sequencing. But I think it's a lot of fun just to have it on that extra channel there. So there are tons more things you can do on this guy. It is pretty deep. I definitely didn't hit everything, but so far those are the things that I've been gravitating toward the most, and I think are like the things you need to set up before you really start diving into this. It takes a little bit to kind of remember the functions, but if you press these buttons, nothing's going to happen on the top row, and these are kind of like your combos. And so it's good to remember those. So I talked about gate length. One thing I didn't talk about was transpose. So real quick, we can hit scale and we can go and transpose up. I'm gonna latch this again. Now when we hit play, it'll transpose. When you let go, it leaves. So that's another fun little effect to just add more variation to the sequence. So that's it. That is the play fader. Just want to give a huge thanks to Play All Day for sending this over, letting me check it out. They just sent it over so I could borrow it for a little bit and check it out with my system. And I liked it, wanted to make a video about it. So huge thanks to them. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Peace.